Good evening, everyone. Good evening, people. Hope your day was great. Thank you so much for joining our live. Please let us know where you're joining us from once you join so we're able to give you a shout out and stuff like that. Thank you so much. So, tonight we're going to continue on the path we've been on. But the topic of tonight's talk is the version of you that your life is waiting for. The version of you that your life is waiting for. Let me ask you something that might hit deeper than you expected tonight. Have you ever had that feeling that your life is waiting on a version of you that you have not fully become yet? Have you ever had that feeling that your life is expecting something from you that you have not grown into yet? Now, it's not because you're worthless. No, let's not look at it from that angle. And that's the truth. It's not because you're worthless, not because you're incapable, but because deep down, you know it. You know there is more in you. You know you could do better than what you're currently doing. You know you could deliver more than what you're currently delivering. You know you could produce more than what you're producing. You know deep down there's more in you. You know in you there's more discipline, there's more honesty, there's more focus, there's more healing, there's more maturity, there's more life. And sometimes the hardest pain in life is not failing. Sometimes the hardest pain is feeling the distance between who you are right now and who you know you could be. Tonight, I want to talk about that version of you because I believe many people are not stuck because life forgot them or life got difficult. A lot of people are stuck because they're still living inside a smaller version of themselves. And until that changes, their life will only grow to the level of the person they keep choosing to be. So tonight, we're going to talk about the version of you that your life is waiting for. Hey, Cedric, thanks for joining. And I believe this message is going to meet some people very deeply and it's going to hit you. So be on the lookout. Welcome, guys. Welcome. If you're joining us live, please let us know where you're joining from. While you do that, let me say this carefully. Tonight is not about pretending to be somebody else. Tonight is not about performance. Tonight is not hype. Tonight is about honesty. That's all tonight is about, honesty. Because, friends, many people are living with a quiet awareness that they are meant for more, that their life could deliver more, but they don't know how to step into that. They don't know how to step into it. And when I say meant for more, I'm not talking about fame. No. I'm not talking about applause. I'm not talking about chasing image. I'm talking about becoming more aligned, becoming more whole, becoming more disciplined, becoming more courageous, more truthful, more intentional. A lot of people are not miserable because they have nothing. They're miserable because they're living beneath what they know is possible in them. In the world of business, we say you're punching below your weight. That's heavy. That's a lot. It is what happens when you know you're capable of more, but you're making peace with less. You're finding less comfortable, so you're sitting with less. And tonight, we're going to talk about that without shame. We're going to talk about the gap between your current self and your future self. Kindly share this if you've not shared it. And kindly hit the subscribe button if you've not subscribed so that you know when we go online. Thank you so much. See, friends, one of the deepest pains in life is not just from outside circumstances. I've talked about pains from your environment and all that. If you've not seen that, please go watch them. But one of the deepest pain is internal misalignment. It is the feeling that you're built for depth, but you're living a very shallow life. You're built for discipline, but you're living distracted. The feeling that you're built for courage, but you keep shrinking. You're built for peace, but you keep feeding chaos. The feeling that you're built for purpose, but all you see is drift. You kept drifting. And that kind of pain is hard to explain to people. Because from the outside, your life may look okay. On paper, you are one of the best. You might look so sweet. You may just be functioning. You may be working. You may be showing up. But inside, you know that it is not all of that. Well, your output is not what all of who you are. That you can do more. Inside, you're crying, I can do more. I can do more than this. See, there's another version of me that keeps calling. That's what you're saying inside. There's another version that needs to show up. And every time I ignore that call, I feel the cost of it. So that cost shows up in frustration. It shows up in restlessness, in quiet regret, in self-disappointment. And what makes it harder is that many people respond to that feeling by numbing it. Instead of listening to it, instead of following to get to the next level, they numb it. They scroll. They go to the internet and find something to while away their time. They distract themselves. They stay busy. They avoid reflection. They avoid listening to their own voices. They avoid listening to their own minds. They avoid all the signals that their body is sending to them. But avoidance doesn't erase truth. Avoidance doesn't change the fact. If your life is waiting on a greater version of you, that truth will keep knocking on your mind. It will keep on knocking. Let me pause and ask you something real. How many of you know, not in a proud way, not in an arrogant way, but honestly, you know that there is another version of you trying to emerge? How many of you? You know that, hey, Matt, there's another version of me that is trying to shoot out. I could tell. A stronger version. Hey, hello, Creed. Thanks for joining. A healed version. A more disciplined version. A more focused version. A more truthful version. If you know that feeling, I want you to know there's more in you. All right? There's more in you. And knowing that is not shaming you. It is awareness. That right there is important, because the first step in becoming more is admitting that what is currently showing up is not the full story of who you are capable of becoming. Friends, let's talk about why people stay in small version of themselves. As I was thinking about this talk, I said, why is it that people stay small? Why is it that people stay small? A lot of people they stay small because this doesn't happen it doesn't happen by accident. You want to become the real version of yourself, it doesn't happen by accident. They stay small because, one, familiarity feels safer than growth. It is more safe to be familiar than to be growing, so they remain there. Even if your current life frustrates you, it is familiar. And familiar pain often feels safer than unfamiliar growth. So people decide to remain small. Number two, growth requires identity disruption. To become more, you often have to let go of the version of yourself you've been protecting. So that's disrupting your identity. And people resist that. People resist that. Three, responsibility increases when you become more. If you become more disciplined, more aware, more mature, more focused, then you can no longer hide behind the same excuses. You can no longer hide behind the same excuses. Four, people around you may not understand your growth, so you prefer to stay small. Sometimes the people who get comfortable with the old you resist the new you. So because of that, you decide to remain small. Five, becoming more requires grief sometimes. You may have to grieve wasted years. Or one of the videos I did yesterday, if you've not seen it, please go watch it. I titled it The Years I Gave Away. The Years I Gave Away. And the focus of that video was not to make you feel sad, but to let you know that, hey, the years you've given away is now in the past. Don't dwell on that regret. Don't give away the one you're in now and the ones in the future. That was the focus. So please go check it out if you've not seen it. So you may have to grieve wasted time. You may have to put out bad habits. You may have to change old identities. You may have to come out of your comfort zone, old patterns, old friends, old coping mechanisms. And many people will rather stay the same than grieve what change requires. So what happened? They stay small. See, they stay small not because they were meant to stay small, but because shrinking became easier than becoming. Shrinking became easier than becoming. I remember someone once saying something that struck me. They said, I'm tired of being the person who keeps talking about what I'm going to do and then move back to the same patterns. That alone is such a painful place to live in. Because after a while, you don't just disappoint yourself, you stop trusting yourself. You erode self-trust. You know you're intelligent for sure. You know you have the ideas. You know you have potential. You know you're capable. You know all these things are there, but you keep playing small. And now, it's not because you want to play small, but because small becomes familiar. Small looks familiar. You learned how to function beneath your full capacity. You learn how to punch below your weight. You learn how to survive with your gift underused. You learn how to stay. You just stay just comfortable enough to never fully confront yourself. And one day, that person said something powerful. I realized my life was waiting on me to become the kind of person I kept postponing. That's it right there. That is it. Your life can only respond to the person you consistently become. Your life cannot respond to the person you occasionally imagine. No. Your life cannot respond to the person you think about and not try to be. Your life responds to the person you consistently become. You are. You know, that thought, that just strikes a thought in my mind, a chord in my mind. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. And that's why it matters so much It matters a lot because dreams are not enough. No, dreams are not enough. Potential is not enough. Intention is not enough. At some point, the version of you that your life is waiting for must actually show up. You must actually get in the game. You must actually show up and play the ball. You have to. One of the thoughts that always crosses my mind when I think about these things is that you can't build a greater life with a smaller identity. You can't. This is one of the most important things I think I've said tonight. A greater life usually requires a greater identity. You cannot build peace with a chaotic mind. You cannot build stability with unstable habits. You cannot build trust with a dishonest version of yourself. You cannot build a strong future while clinging to weak patterns. Many people want better outcomes while becoming the person those outcomes, without becoming the person those outcomes require. See, they want stronger relationships without becoming more mature. They want better finances without becoming more disciplined. They want more clarity without becoming more honest. They want deeper purpose without becoming more focused. But life responds to identity. The life you want is not asking for effort only. It's also asking for transformation. It is. See, I knew of someone who had what many people will call success. They had the title, they had the job, they had the visible markers, but inside they were unsettled. Inside they had this ache, this pain, because the outward growth had not been matched by the inward growth. They had reached positions their character had not fully caught up with. And they were exhausted trying to hold together a life that looked impressive but felt misaligned. That story matters because many people think the answer is success. They think the answer is more money. They think the answer is more opportunity. They think the answer is more recognition. They think the answer is more visibility. But sometimes the real answer is not access. Sometimes the real answer is alignment. Because if your inner life is underdeveloped, malnourished, external success can become another burden, another load, another weight for you to carry. You now start to perform. This is why becoming matters more than appearing. Becoming matters more than appearing. Let me ask you something that I want you to answer honestly to yourself. What version of you is your life waiting for the most right now? What version of you is your life waiting for the most right now? Is it the more disciplined you, or the more courageous you, or the more focused you, or the more healed you, or the more peaceful you, or the more honest you, or a more consistent you? What version is your life waiting for right now? Answer that by yourself, honestly. A lot of people think delaying growth is harmless. It isn't. There's a cost to staying the same way for too long. I did a video called The Cost of Waiting. Please, if you've not seen it, go watch it. It's on my channel. There's a cost to that. There's a cost to not making the move. The cost shows up in lost time. It shows up in lost confidence. It shows up in lost opportunities. It shows up in strained relationships. It shows up in emotional fatigue. It shows up in internal frustrations. Because every day you live beneath what you know is possible, you feel the weight of that gap. And after a while, people start normalizing lives that quietly disappoint them. They say things like, this is just how I am. Who told you that? Or, this is just who I am. I can't do more than this. Who told you that? This is just my personality. This is just my season. And sometimes that is true though, but sometimes that is not wisdom. That is not wisdom. Sometimes that is total surrender. Sometimes that is a smaller identity speaking. And if you're not careful, you can spend years calling something a season when it has really become a pattern. So tonight, I want you to hear this, friends. There is a cost to not becoming. There is a cost if you're living below what you're meant, the life you're meant to live. There is a cost to that. I once heard a parent speak with painful honesty. They said, my children don't need the tired, reactive, distracted version of me I've been given to them. That I felt that. It hit me across the chest. Because see, sometimes life is waiting on you to become more, not just for your sake, but for the people connected to you. Life is waiting for you to do more, not just because of you, but for those tied to your name. Your children may need a more present version of you. Your spouse may need a more patient version of you. Your future may need a more disciplined version of you. Your calling may need a more courageous version of you. Your peace may need a more honest version of you. And what these parents realized was not that they were evil. They're good parents. It was just that they were living on autopilot. They were showing up physically. They were there physically, but not intentionally. And once they saw it, they started making small changes, such as less phone, more eye contact, more patience, more intentional words, more emotional presence. And over time, the atmosphere of the home changed. The relationship became better. It became more intimate. The power of becoming came into being. That's how it is. Sometimes your life changes because you changed first. So if your life have to change, you have to change. The change starts from the inside, then the outside follows suit. Let's talk a bit about comfort. Let's talk about comfort. See, because comfort is one of the biggest enemies of growth, not rest. Rest is healthy. But comfort that keeps you small, comfort that excuses underdevelopment, comfort that practices or that protects weak patterns, that kind of comfort becomes a prison. The danger of comfort is that it really feels dangerous. It feels normal. It doesn't come with a siren. It feels manageable. It feels good enough. And good enough has buried a lot of greatness. A lot of people are not trapped by failure. No. They are trapped by comfort. Comfortable distraction, comfortable avoidance, comfortable underperformance, comfortable emotional immaturity. And because it doesn't feel catastrophic, they let it continue. But life really changed through comfort alone. Becoming usually asks you to leave something familiar behind to something unfamiliar in the future. I remember someone who once said, or he always says this, not once. He always says this, one day. He always use that phrase, one day. One day I'll get serious. One day I'll write the book. One day I'll deal with my habits. One day I'll stop drifting. One day I'll become more disciplined. One day I'll live intentionally. And the problem with one day is it can sound hopeful while hiding delay. It makes you sound mature as if you're planning, but you're just using that to masquerade the delay. See, because if one day never becomes today, it becomes a soft place to hide from responsibility. This person eventually realized something painful. They were not waiting on time, time was waiting on them. Let me say that again. They were not waiting on time. Time was waiting on them. What? Time was waiting on them to decide. Time was waiting on them to act. Time was waiting on them to stop postponing the person they know they needed to become. Friends, that's powerful. Because most people keep saying one day, when what they really need is today. One decision. Let's make this practical, as usual. What does becoming actually look like? What does becoming actually look like? It looks like honesty. Honesty about your habits. Honesty about your excuses. Honesty about your patterns. Honesty about your pain. It looks like consistency. Becoming is not dramatic bursts. It is not emotional hype. It is not repeated choices. Becoming looks like responsibility. Owning what is yours as yours. Not blaming everything else. Becoming looks like discomfort. Becoming looks like having hard conversations. Becoming looks like doing what you don't feel like doing. Letting go of who you've been. It looks like alignment. Your actions slowly matching the life you say you want. That, my friend, is becoming. Not pretending, not performing, not announcing, but building. I want to give you something to imagine here. Imagine it is 10 years from today. Just imagine it's 10 years from today. And you're looking back at this season of your life. What will break your heart the more? What will break your heart the more? Imagine it's 10 years from today. Is it that becoming more required discomfort? Or that you stayed in the same smaller version of yourself for the next 10 years? See, friends, whether you do anything about it, 10 years will come and go. 10 years is going to come and go. So imagine that in the next 10 years, what will break your heart the more? Pushing yourself or staying comfortable? That's the question. Because the real strategy is not struggle. No, it's not hustle. It's not. The real strategy is unnecessary stagnation. Oh, the real tragedy, please, is unnecessary stagnation, not strategy. Tragedy. It is not struggle, it's unnecessary stagnation. That is what the real tragedy is. Now let's talk about something important. Becoming is not only about discipline. It's also about healing. Becoming, because sometimes the version of you that your life is waiting for is buried under pain. The version of you that your life is waiting for is buried under shame. It's buried under fear, buried under disappointment. It's buried under rejection, under exhaustion. And if you ignore that, you can become ash with yourself. You can think growth only means pushing harder. But sometimes growth means healing deeper. Sometimes the next version of you requires rest. The next version of you requires forgiveness. It requires honest reflection. It requires rebuilding self-trust. Sometimes the next version of you requires grieving what happened, or letting go of the lie that you must keep carrying old pain forever. Healing is not a weakness. Healing is preparation, because unhealed pain can keep you chained to smaller identities. I remember hearing someone say they thought the answer to their life was just more discipline. See, they thought the answer to their life was just wake up earlier, work harder, push harder, hustle more, grind more, do more. But the harder they pushed, the harder they hustled, the harder they grind, the more frustrated they became. Because the real issue was not just about laziness. The real issue was pain. Pain they never faced. Disappointment they never grieved. Fear they kept disguising as procrastination. Shame they kept turning into avoidance. And once they started addressing what was happening underneath, their discipline became more stable. Because now it is no longer built on self-hatred, it is built on truth. Friends, that matters. It is built on honesty. Because sustainable becoming is not built by whipping yourself into motion. It is built by aligning truth, healing, and responsibility. Aligning them. Let's get a little bit practical here, all right? If you want to step into the version of you that your life is waiting for, what will you do? Like a lot of people say, hey, Matt, I like what you talk about, but how do I do this? This is the practical part. Get brutally honest, number one. Get brutally honest. What version of you keeps showing up right now? Today, take an X-ray of yourself. What version of you keeps showing up right now? Number two, name the next identity clearly. Like, who do you actually need to become in this season? What version of you do you need to become? Name it clearly. Number three, stop trying to change everything at once. I've always said this. You can't eat an elephant all at once. Pick one area. Pick one area. Number four, build evidence daily. One repeated action that proves the new identity will increase self-worth. It will increase self-trust. Number five, let discomfort stop being a surprise. It is part of the package. Growth will feel different. Growth will take you out of your comfort zone. So don't be surprised when discomfort comes calling. It is part of the package. It doesn't mean it is wrong. It doesn't mean you are in the wrong direction. It actually means you are doing what is right. Number six, heal what keeps pulling you back. What is that wound? What is that wound that is still open? Pay attention to the pain beneath the pattern. Pay attention to it. Heal that. Then keep moving forward. Number seven, stay consistent long enough for identity to solidify. Oh, I like this. Stay consistent. Don't just start and run away. No. Stay long enough for growth to show. Stay long enough for your identity to become solid. Do not expect instant transformation. Do not expect instant results. This is not 10 ways to get rich in one day. No. All those things are illusions. Do one thing at a time. Stay consistent. long enough to become who you want to be. Do not expect instant transformation. This is how becoming happens. That's how it happens. I want to slow down a little bit at this point. See, I want you to wherever you are, just do this exercise, right? Write a small version of how do I want to put this? Ask yourself this question. What small version of me have I been living in? What small version of me have I been showing up as? What small version of me have been on the fore when people call for me? What small version? Now write this. What is my life asking me to become? Or think about it. What is my life asking me to become? What are my promptings? What are my purposes that I am living below? Think about this too. What part of me is most resisting that growth? What part of me is most resisting the growth of becoming what I was destined to become, or what my life is asking me to become? What part of me is resisting that growth? And one more thing to think about. What is one daily action that will prove I am becoming? What is one daily action that will prove I am becoming? Friends, that's right there. If you follow those sequence, that right there is how clarity begins. Oh, you said I was here on Thursday. All right. Thank you, Tony. Are you subscribed to our channel now? That right there is how clarity begins. Clarity is not, it doesn't begin in noise. It begins in honesty. In honesty. See, a lot of people think their future is mainly waiting on opportunity. And yes, opportunity matters. Oh, we all looking for that. It matters. But many times your future is also waiting on character. It's waiting on maturity. It's waiting on discipline, on courage, on consistency. Because if you get everything you wanted today, will the version of you who exists today know how to carry it? If God answers that prayers today, will it not overwhelm you? If the blessings flow as you want it now, can you carry it? That's a serious question you need to ask yourself. Sometimes delay is not denial, Sometimes delay is not denial. Sometimes delay is development. Sometimes life is not withholding from you. Sometimes life is kind of preparing you by forcing you to become. I did a video called The Frameworks of Life. Please go watch it. And the first framework we did in that series is the framework called Be, Do, Have. The Be, Do, Have framework. And one thing we registered in that video, we said the world has turned it upside down and everybody is chasing having instead of becoming first. And when you have, you start misbehaving because you don't even know how to keep it. If you become first before you have, you're going to know how to keep it. So sometimes delay is not denial. Delay might be life preparing you by forcing you to become. And if you can see that clearly, you stop resenting the process. You stop saying, oh, why me? You stop respecting the process. You start respecting the process. You start trusting the process. Because now you know that delay is not denial. Delay is not denial. I might not have what I need now, but the issue is, if I have it now, can I handle it? If all the monies I need today, if I get them now, can I handle it? It might not be the same for everybody. So you might be at a point where you have already become. That's great. You can handle what you can handle. But somebody else, maybe he's not even there yet, but he's just thinking of the blessings. If you get the blessings, you go crazy. That's the truth. Because you can handle it. So now let me tell you something hopeful here. The version of you that your life is waiting for is not a fantasy. It's not some fake, polished, perfect person. It's a real version of you. A truer version, a stronger version, a clearer version, a more aligned version. And the version does not align all at once. No, it doesn't. It emerges through repeated honesty, repeated courage, repeated obedience to what you know is right, repeated refusal to keep living beneath what you know is possible. That's hope. That's hope. Because it means you do not have to become everything tonight. Any message that tells you, oh, for you to get you have to be everything tonight, that's a scam. That's illusion. That's elusive. You do not have to become everything tonight. You just have to stop betraying what you already know and start moving in bits and pieces. It is okay to be human. I've always said that on this channel. You are okay to make mistakes. Besides, you're a human being. Let me leave you with this tonight. There's a version of you that your life is waiting for. A version of you with more peace, more maturity, more courage, more discipline, more healing, more truth. And your life will keep feeling tight, frustrating, and misaligned as long as you keep trying to build a greater future with a smaller identity. So tonight, stop shrinking, my friends. Stop postponing. Stop protecting old version of yourself that can no longer carry you where you need to go. Let this be the season where you become more honest, more aligned, more intentional, more whole. Not for applause, not for the screen, not for the gram, not for performance, but because your life is asking for it. Because your life deserves it. If this message spoke to you, do 3 things. Like this live. Hit the subscribe button. Comment under this message. Haha, Linnell. Yeah, I see you. Thank you so much. And if you know someone who is living beneath what they know is possible, share this message with them. Oh, go ahead and share it with them. Because sometimes people do not need more information. They need the courage to stop living inside a smaller version of themselves. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for sticking around with us. Kindly share this message. All right? This is Matt Miller signing out for the night. This is good night from me. Peace.